Well. We are back. Grateful to be back for another episode. We're in the double digits now officially with this one. Episode number 10 of the Purest podcast. Very humbled to be your host, Keenan, of the Purest podcast. But enough about me. Tonight, we are here with a very, very, very special guest. A very, very, very good friend, a very close friend, a brother, if you will. We are sitting here in my second home, officially, of the Ripley household, and we have none other than my guy, Sergio Ripley. Sergio Ripley's in the building.
Thank you.
How you doing?
I'm really good, doing good. Happy to be here.
Yes.
Excited for this.
Glad we could get one in.
Yes.
Glad we could get one in. For those who don't know, me and Sergio, we've known each other since middle school. We met each other in middle school. Class of 2019 together.
Yep.
This guy is probably this is the guy I probably guarded the most, played the most basketball with, talked the most basketball with. You know what I mean? Probably was my biggest rival at a certain point. All friendly, you know what I mean? But on some
Absolutely.
iron sharpen iron stuff, you know, being here in his backyard playing hoops. Through the Sharon basketball program, you know what I mean? We out here right now in my second home, like I said, so very grateful to have a guy like him as a friend, but very looking forward to talking ball with this podcast. This guy knows ball just as much as me, just as much as anybody that's about to watch this stuff. So that's enough for intros now, though. Let's get straight into it.
Let's get into it.
All right. We are recording this July 2nd, a day after, I don't even know what to call it, a self-sabotage. You know, Jaylen Brown gets traded to Philadelphia for Paul George and a couple picks, some pick swaps. When I seen it, I was at a loss for words. I mean, I posted a clip on the page. You guys probably seen it, but I mean, I literally screamed in my house, no. Like, I don't know what the direction we're going in here. Serge, I want to know, what was your reaction? Where were you when you got wind of this stuff, man?
I just got home from work yesterday.
This is like a catastrophe. Like,
yeah, I was in my car, just pulled out my phone and just saw it, and I thought it was fake at first. I won't lie. I was distraught. That's the only word I had for it. It didn't feel real.
And it's like the way Sham sets it up now, it's like he'll put breaking in all caps.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, something crazy just happened. And then it's like the next name you see is Jaylen Brown, and it's like, oh, okay, like, damn, like we actually did it. And now it's like, okay, Jaylen Brown for Paul George? Like, the same franchise where a week ago we was one of two teams that could have got Giannis Antetokounmpo, and now we're trading Jaylen Brown for Paul George.
It hurts.
So the reason why I'm in silence like this is because I'm trying to figure out any way possible what's the direction Boston could be going in.
I think that, as we've seen in the past, I don't think that this is the final move for Brad Stevens. I strongly disagree with the move, but I don't think this is final from this offseason for him.
Yeah.
And it's hard to try to understand why he made this move, but I think it's a long-term decision, as he said, but I don't know where we're going long-term with that decision.
Yeah, I see. In my head, we have Paul George now. In my head, the first thing I'm thinking is there's no way that we're letting him pick up his player option. So my next thing is thinking, okay, if we don't want to have him accept that player option and we just have to take on that money, and then by the time he accepts it, we try to find a deal that's going to be, you know, he's going to be less valuable at that time.
Mm-hmm.
The only logical option would be to trade him this season again, maybe later down the road, right?
Yeah.
But And yeah, I can understand that this is obviously not the last move. We didn't want to get Paul George necessarily. I can see this being a stepping stone to something else. But my question is, why do we have to lose that much leverage?
Absolutely.
If we wanted to flip to move on from Jaylen Brown, I feel like, from what I heard, we were fielding 8 to 10 different offers. Like, we could have got something more viable, especially given the fact that we're in a win now mode. Obviously, Jaylen Brown leaving means that it's the end of an era with him and Jason Tatum. So for me, one of my next thoughts was, how does Jason Tatum feel about this? And not necessarily Jaylen Brown leaving, because to be frank, they've been dealing with these rumors since, they really came into their own.
Since they started.
You know what I mean? Right before the bubble, realistically. So Tatum was always prepared. Jaylen Brown was always prepared for one way or the other. But now we're looking at it now where Tatum's looking at the front office, and it's like, do I trust you guys to put me in the best position to win? I don't know if this move represents that, and obviously he's not done, but if I'm Jason Tatum right now during the offseason, I'm like, man, I guess I not appreciate, but he understands where he can step up and make more of a consistent impact, I guess, in terms of touches and play style and game to game. But at the same time, Tatum's used to having weapons with him. You know what I mean? So I feel like he doesn't feel as good about it as the front office would hope, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you think Tatum thinks about this?
I think he's in a tough situation. Like you said, he's been playing with Jaylen Brown since he was a rookie. And they've been fielding the trade rumor since he was a rookie about Brown leaving. But that's his guy,
Yeah. Now he's the longest tenured Celtic.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. With Paul George as his right-hand man,
57.
He's going to be 37 this season, and I just don't know where you go from there as the Celtics.
And I don't want to disrespect Paul George's career and who he is as a player, because he is a good player and he's going to be able to help this team in certain ways. But I just think that, like I said, the leverage we lost and the dynamic of our team is less dangerous now that we have someone who's basically going to be a sharpshooter for us, a three-level scorer at times. I don't even know, the defense. I don't know.
He's been injured.
It's like this guy.
I don't know the last time he played close to 3/4 of a season.
And
he's 37 that's up there.
That is up
There's
there.
There's no hiding that.
And we know his history. Unfortunately, we know his history of what his ascension in the league and how it got halted a little bit, but. And shoot, I'll give him credit. He performed pretty decently in the playoffs too, I think.
Absolutely.
If there's one reason why the Celtics was okay with getting Paul George as a player, it's probably because of his outside shot making, and that's probably the one thing that Paul George has over Jaylen Brown that everyone can probably agree with in terms of Paul George's ability to shoot. I think that with Tatum being a primary ball handler majority of the time anyways, I think that it makes Tatum's job a little easier to kind of he's still going to get that attention, but now he's kicking out to a guy like Paul George who's got a quicker trigger and, might make his job easier as a facilitator. But, speaking of primary ball handlers as well, I don't know how much, truth this is with obviously the Celtics probably going to make a move to flip, Paul George after, but for primary ball handlers, they're looking at Payne Pritchard to step up as a point guard, and they're assuming that Pritchard is going to be a guy that's going to take some of those Jaylen Brown touches and hopefully be just as effective, or if not more effective in certain areas. I want to know what you think about that in terms of the roster the Celtics have as constructed now. Even Mitch Robinson signing too, but do we trust Payne Pritchard enough as a facilitator, scorer, player to step up and really help out a championship team in a starting role?
Well, we saw his progression this year when Tatum was out. He definitely got improved as a player, but he improved. I'd say he's shown that he's a microwave and that he's able to get a bucket whenever he needs to, but the facilitator area. I don't know if it's there for him. And I know he's been a point guard all his life, and
right.
I know he can pass the ball and he can facilitate, but I don't know if he can do it at a championship level, like you were saying.
Yeah,
because that's asking a lot.
Right, and does he want to? Is my question. I mean, like we said, this season, yes, we've seen a lot of progression in terms of him being an above-average NBA player. I think that we can't dispute that. You know what I mean? He's definitely earned his keep in the league, and that's great for him, but in terms of the way he's going about it, I don't know if he's capable of having that Jalen Brunson quote-unquote type effect, because Pritchard's just really into scoring. You know what I mean? And I love him for his game and his aggressiveness, but if you're telling me Peyton Pritchard is our starting point guard, it puts a ceiling on our floor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it puts a ceiling on our team. Like, it's not. It feels right him being that sixth man where you can come on the court and you can do whatever you want, and there's not going to be no penalty against it because you're coming off the bench and we know what you're coming in the game for. But like, I mean, this dude be pulling up from the hash mark like as soon as he touches the ball sometimes. Like, this guy be going crazy. So it's like, it's a lot of moving parts for the Celtics right now.
There's a lot.
It still doesn't feel real in a sense, you know what I mean, in terms of Jaylen Brown being in Philly. And I definitely want to start addressing that side of it more, because, to be honest, that's the more intriguing side at this point to me. Like,
for sure.
Philly just got themselves out of a conundrum, you know what I mean, out of a vortex that they probably would have been in for the next couple years in terms of having Paul George and Embiid's money. Now you can, swap the money for Paul George, at least for a player that's a lot better than Paul George at this rate. You know what I mean? Jaylen Brown's 29 or something, however old he is, to pair with a Tyrese Maxey, and now Embiid's almost your third option. You know what I mean? So when he's healthy, it's a luxury, and when he's not, they're still going to be good enough to compete in the Eastern Conference. So, I mean, the happiest guy in the NBA right now is probably Tyrese Maxey. You know what I mean? Just him getting a real opportunity to play with a champion, a Finals MVP, knowing that Maxey's already capable of being great himself. You could tell in that New York series, he wasn't given, the game plan wasn't for Tyrese to be the best player in that series. You could tell that it was almost like Embiid's last hurrah, being the best player and seeing how far he could take Philly, especially with that 3-1 comeback. That was pretty impressive. I'll give it to Embiid, but they kind of rode that wave too much and led to their demise, getting swept by the Knicks. But the Knicks were playing good enough basketball anyways. But I think now going into this year, you're going to see a lot more dynamic, faster play with the Sixers. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to move on from Embiid too for less now, because you got a Jaylen Brown and a Tyrese Maxey, and all you need is there's a bunch of athletic defensive bigs that you can get out there for cheap. So, I mean, what do you think about Philly? How much better do you think Philly got?
I think it's huge for Philly. I think, like you said, Philly's problem has always been Embiid and his health. And no matter how great he is, and he's great, it always comes down to the playoffs. Can you play a 7-game series, and can you play 3 to 4 7-game series? And time again, it's been no. Yeah. But with Jaylen Brown, like you said, it's him and Tyrese Maxey can win playoff series by themselves. And obviously, they're not even by themselves, because they have VJ Edgecombe. Yeah. And they have a good bench at their bench is tough, but they got a good rookie, and they got Simons on a good deal. So
they just signed Simons today too. Oh boy,
they're working towards it. And Jaylen Brown, Tyrese Maxey, and VJ Edgecombe, that's a scary team. that by itself is a scary team.
That's yo. If you shoot it and it's a long rebound, if you shoot it and it's a long rebound, and you got Maxey, Edgecombe, and JB coming down the floor in the regular season, yeah, that's a 50-win team. There's gonna be games where the Sixers are gonna come in and just be like, oh, these guys are tired. Like, we're gonna win. These guys are tired. I mean, three dogs. Maxey led the NBA in minutes last year. JB is all about playing as many games as he can.
Yes.
I feel like the only reason why he was sitting out games last year was because the Celtics was doing the, rest and recover thing, which is reasonable because that's their guy at that time. And,
Absolutely.
we need him for the playoffs for sure. But JB's all about playing every game he can. And, obviously Edgecombe, young rookie that, got the young legs and, probably the most athletic out of the three of them. He just hasn't really came into his grown man strength yet. But, I expect his jump to be huge, even with JB coming in and having a lot of touches too. But
absolutely.
Are you worried about a guy like VJ, like in terms of his development or progression with a guy like JB?
Yes and no. He's only 20, so he's got time to develop, and Jaylen Brown will be a great mentor towards him. And we saw last year he had 30 against us in one of the playoff games.
Yeah.
So
I made some money off that game.
I think he'll develop regardless of who's in front of him, who's with him. I think there'll be games where he goes off. There'll be games where he's the primary defender, and games where Jaylen Brown's the primary defender and he's not worried about scoring. But it's a scary three.
Yeah.
And that's not even including Embiid.
I think if VJ continues to improve his 3-point shooting, that catch and shoot, because obviously you just mentioned the 30-point game in against Boston in that first round, like he hit like 5 threes that game. You know what I mean? So I think he kind of sees how he can be effective, especially with the Tyrese Maxey and Embiid and now JB, like those guys creating that attention. You're going to be open on the wing. So I think that if he approaches this offseason with wanting to be a more consistent 3-point shooter, I think that, sky's the limit for a team like them, but
he's going to get a lot more open looks too.
Yeah, I know, right? He was already getting some open looks. Now he's going to be really open.
A lot more.
On both end, good problems to have if you're Philly.
Yes.
If you're Boston, to be honest, this isn't a time to feel too bad. You should feel bad for Jaylen Brown in terms of, let me rephrase that. If you're a Boston fan, you should have your head held high because of the fact that we have Jason Tatum on the roster. I think that he's a big reason why this deal was even done. And I think that you have to remind yourself, who Jason Tatum is. I think that for all of us, it's been a minute since we really watched Jason Tatum be Jason Tatum. I think we saw a flash in the pan, one of those games against Philly where he had like 30 and, was killing it and had that dagger 3 to put us up 3-1. But obviously we didn't see all of him last year. He was coming into his own. So I think that a big reason why we made this move for Boston fans is because, we have to make sure that Jason Tatum can come into this season and be comfortable and really get his rhythm back, and also just figure out different ways we can win, because at this point, especially with the way we lost with the 3-1 lead, it was kind of glaring, and Brad said it in the press conference too, that, hey, maybe the way we were playing isn't the most, optimal to win basketball games nowadays. I think in 2024 we had something that no one else was really doing, and we was able to have great defenders that, made us even better. But nowadays, the shooting and the frequency that people shoot threes is more common. So we're kind of back in that middle of the pack team with just big names. So, sometimes you got to break it down to start all over, but this is just a partial breakdown, you know what I mean? But we are definitely on thin ice. And like I said, in JT we trust at this point. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's always been that, of course, but now it's more than ever. It's another chapter in his book where he can really step into his own. And I think that another point we can harp on is the fact that we'll be honest, Jason Tatum wants a Finals MVP. I think that now Boston has put him in more of a position to be able to do that. So
he's got to step up. He has to be undoubtedly the main guy.
Yeah.
And I think he has been, but obviously Jaylen Brown won the Finals MVP that year, and he deserved to win. But now it's proof that Jason Tatum, it has to be your team and your team only. Yeah. There's
not going to be another guy that could just get you 30, you know what I mean? And not like he ever needed it, of course, but Like, for real. You know, like, you're actually not going to get a guy that can get you 30. You know what I mean? Like, I went to a couple of basketball games, Celtics games this year. One with Serge right here. We went to the Orlando game. We always go to the Orlando game.
Yep.
JB had 35. You know what I mean? Like, went to the Phoenix game, saw Devin Booker. JB had 40 on 20 free throws. You know what I mean? So, that first game against Orlando, Tatum wasn't playing, but Tatum played that second game, and obviously, you know, asterisk because he's coming back from injury. But, like, seriously, you're not going to have a guy that could just put up 40 and then you only have to worry about playing defense, rebounding, and assisting. So, looking forward to Tatum getting that opportunity. But, you know, happy for JB, too. Definitely more sad to see him go.
For sure.
Like, since we were in high school, we've been watching this team. You know what I mean? Remember the LeBron 2018 conference finals, you know, the Kyrie era. Like, it's so many times, so many different eras, and those two were there. So the fact that one half of them's gone now definitely makes us, you know, it reminds us that we're getting older. You know what I mean? So wishing nothing but the best for Jaylen Brown, the Celtics. But, you know, speaking of Philly too, LeBron, they might want LeBron too. You know what I mean? But where is LeBron gonna go? Where do we think he should go? What do we think of LeBron playing another season of basketball too?
I always felt like he was going to play another season of basketball because he deserves a farewell tour, but he's going to give himself a farewell tour.
Yes.
But I'm excited to see where he goes. I'm happy he made the decision to move on from LA. I think there are some great options. I don't think he's taking a minimal contract like people have been saying. I think he's taking a smaller contract than he could, but it's not going to be minimal in my opinion.
Yeah. 25.
Yeah.
25, 30.
Yeah. But I'm excited to see where he goes. I don't have one contender that's above everybody else right now.
Yeah. I think from reports and just my opinion on where I think he should go, I feel like the Warriors are most intriguing to him. Like, if I'm LeBron playing with a guy like Steph, I feel like that's a guarantee to have decent numbers in terms of, you know, the gravity that he causes that allows you to go one-on-one against some young guys. And then obviously the assist numbers with the whole system of, you know, Curry playing off ball and the post splits and all that good stuff. Like, you know, and if you could get they were trying to get but they tried to get Kawhi too. They were trying to, or was it AD?
I think so, AD.
It was AD,
so.
okay, yeah. It was AD they were trying to get.
Been shopped around.
Yeah, I've been hearing that the Wizards aren't taking calls on that, so
yes,
that kind of discourages the idea of LeBron going to the Warriors, if you ask me. But my question is, how bad does LeBron want to win another championship? You know, I'm not talking minimum deal with the Oklahoma City Thunder, or like with the Spurs or something like that.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, where is he trying to go? Is he, like, you know what I mean? Like, realistically, you got to Miami with Giannis and Bam. Like, Cleveland's realistic. Philly's slightly realistic. It's a lot of perimeter guys if you add Braun to that mix. But Braun needs that depth of star power, for sure, because he's not going to be closing out games every night consistently. You know what I mean? Maybe every 3 games, every 4 games. So it's very interesting in terms of where Braun could go, who he wants to play with, because it's hard to picture LeBron in another jersey as many teams as he's been on. You know what I mean? Off the top of my head, I feel like he cares about his reputation and the marketing behind it too. So I feel like Cleveland makes the most sense right now, given the fact of the talent that they got and you know what I mean? Just the defense, and they got the perfect amount of versatility in terms of quality bigs, quality guards, and he could just fit right in. But as far as I'm concerned, I think that LeBron just wants the attention right now. You know, LeBron probably already knows where he wants to play, and he's just like waiting for like we were just watching the World Cup. So like Ronaldo's playing, like he's not gonna announce where he's signing while Ronaldo just scored a penalty. Like, you know, like that's the kind of guy LeBron is in my head. So it's like he's just going to wait on like a Sunday or something where nobody's doing nothing, where, you know, he could just have his day. You know what I mean?
He's going to wait till everything's calm and he becomes the moment when he makes that decision.
Yeah, whole video behind it and all
Yeah.
that. So, shout out Braun though, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wherever you go, I'm just happy that he's at the point where he could just make the league more exciting. You know what I mean? Obviously, when he went to the Heat and all that fun stuff, like he was a villain with his free agency signing. But I think everyone's gonna be happy wherever he signs just to see
Yeah.
LeBron again. You know what I mean? So hurry up with that decision, Braun. But my guess is Cleveland. Do you have a prediction if you had to pick one?
I think I'm between Cleveland, Miami, and Golden State. I think I want to say Cleveland because I think
he wants to add to those stats, right?
Yeah, I mean, he wants to go home. That's a fairy tale ending.
Yeah.
And they're a legit team right now. It's not like there's not one team in the East that's you could say is number one.
Yeah.
Right now.
Not a clear favorite.
So
Not
I
a
think
clear
if he
favorite.
goes to Cleveland, they could be contenders just like everybody else in the East. But the Heat with Bam and Giannis and him, that would be.
He would play point guard.
Yeah.
He would play point guard again, for sure. That's enticing if you're LeBron James. Yeah, that's enticing. I'm not gonna lie. You don't have to play a lick of defense.
2 7-footers.
You get blown by.
Who
You
can
got
move?
Giannis and Bam down there. Yeah, that sounds enticing for a 42-year-old. That sounds real enticing. I'm not gonna lie. Speaking of contenders in the East, Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Toronto. Last time Kawhi was on the Raptors, we were graduating high school. You know what I mean? Like 3 weeks after we graduated high school, Kawhi was winning a championship against the Warriors.
Yep.
Ending that dynasty. And now he's back. I don't like. I know LeBron signed back with Cleveland, but a trade back, like a trade back after the guy
Directly back.
chose to sign elsewhere. It's like super smart move for Toronto, if you ask me. I think that they didn't what's the expression for it? Like they didn't like feel good about themselves after the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like they didn't just like they weren't just happy to be there and like happy that they surpassed preseason expectations of win totals. Like Brandon Ingram, I love him as a basketball player. I love his style of play. He's a great scorer in my opinion, but your playoff performance was not acceptable for the first option, and it wasn't comparable to what you was doing all season. You know what I mean? I think that the Raptors took note of that.
Yeah.
It was super glaring to them. He couldn't even finish the series because of a heel injury. Very unfortunate for Brandon Ingram, but if you're Toronto, you look at that and you say, we have Scotty Barnes here who can do everything. Why do we have to make him the best scorer too? You can't put that much on Scotty Barnes and the Raptors and expect them to win. They had the whole RJ Barrett game winner. I remember texting you about that actually, the Halliburton type bounce that went in. Like, I wanted the Raptors to win. I thought they were going to win that series.
Yeah, over Cleveland
before the series started. So I think Toronto believed that too. So the fact that they didn't, I think it was definitely a wake up call to them that they needed to get better, and they capitalized in a way that's very effective.
For sure.
With Kawhi, what do you think about?
Yeah, I think going into the year, everyone thought Brandon Ingram was the man in Toronto. I wouldn't have picked Scotty Barnes as more valuable than Brandon Ingram, but through the whole year and through the playoffs even more so, he proved it that Scotty Barnes can be the guy. And with Kawhi, that's great defense.
That's great defense.
And both those guys play hard.
Celtics are stupid. So we have to see the Raptors 4 times a year and Philly 4 times a year? And now the Knicks 4 times a year?
Yep.
That's 12 games. Jesus Christ.
So at least we got the Nets, but it's not helpful.
Yeah. We're lucky they didn't draft Acuff.
Yeah.
Julius Randle and Michael Porter Jr. That's scary too. No, I'm kidding, but I mean, like Kawhi's back in Toronto now. Their defense is absolutely ridiculous. Scotty just got robbed the first team. Kawhi is obviously not in his prime defensively, but it's Kawhi. Like, I think just the scoring and they literally just figured out the last 5 minutes of every game they play now. You know what I mean? Like, it just makes it that much easier for them to just focus on being a great defensive team.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I really like their coach, Darko, too. he has something about him that keeps them fighting and like keeps them like worried about like defense and like getting stops and like not about like he don't care about players' numbers and like their egos. You know, he got the team bought in on just executing whatever it is. And I think like when you add a guy like Kawhi, it makes it even easier because you know when Kawhi's in the game, they're playing through him. It makes Scottie Barnes' job a whole lot easier with him being as versatile as ever. Like, I mean, yeah, just problems to have. I mean, Jakob Poeltl, I like him as a big man too. Like they still got Quickly, still got RJ Barrett. I mean, that's
they only lost Brandon Ingram and Grady Dick, which
he wasn't even playing like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like they didn't lose. It was essentially a player swap with picks.
That's it.
Like
just added him for the money,
for player. Yeah.
So now Brandon Ingram is in L.A. right with Darius Garland now. Who did they just draft too? They just drafted was it Wagler?
Yeah.
Wagler? Okay. So they have a lot of okay, so they got DG and Keaton. I mean, they just traded Zubac. I mean, yeah, Clippers in the middle of the road as usual. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I want to feel bad for Ingram, but at the same time, I know he's still going to do what he does. And, like...
He'll be fine in L.A.
Yeah, like, literally, like, he's been there before. He's comfortable in L.A., like, you know, happy for him. You know what I mean? Hopefully he could do his thing and make an all-star or something. And maybe the Clippers could be AFC playing tournament, entertaining. You know what I mean? But that's that for the East. You know... the Atlantic, or at least the Atlantic division, you know what I mean? Because now that division is absolutely stacked. So that's good. Out west, man, LaMelo Ball to the Timberwolves, man. LaMelo Ball to the. I forgot to write that, but I just thought of that while we were speaking, and like the media and the PR stuff. We'll get that out the way. Let's talk about the basketball. Like, what do we think the Minnesota Timberwolves were thinking, and do we believe in their plan in terms of giving up Naz Reid and picks for LaMelo Ball?
I like the move. I like the move a lot. I mean, it's two of the most fun personalities in the NBA.
Yeah, it is.
And Anthony Edwards, I love Anthony Edwards. I think he can take a team as far as they need to go.
Yes.
And LaMelo Ball is a huge addition. Again, it's about his health, but he's young. He's got a long way to go.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a lot of playoff experience, but
he's a killer.
He's going to be involved in it now.
Yes, he is.
There's no choice. And I'm excited for this team. I like Naz Reid a lot. He was a big player for the Timberwolves, but Timberwolves got a lot better in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that for me, when that trade went down, obviously they traded Julius Randle for, you know, picks and stuff like that. So you knew that they were making another move because they were opening up the money.
Yep.
Right? And then they got LaMelo, and that was super dope too. And then seeing that they had to trade Naz Reid was interesting too, because I thought that Naz Reid would be able to slide into the starting four role. I feel like every time I watch the Timberwolves, and I love Randle as a player. I think when he's on, he could be very dangerous and like bring a team a spark. But it seemed like the Wolves played better when Naz Reid was on the floor, whether it was with Randle or without. But when Naz Reid was on that floor, they were rolling.
Completely
you know what I mean?
Agree,
so when they traded him, I was a little taken aback. But then I started to think for a minute, and, you know, you realize that in 2026, NBA is a lot of small ball and, like, sizes and everything nowadays. And, shoot, you still have Rudy Gobert. You know what I mean?
You still have Jaden McDaniels.
Still have Jaden McDaniels. Huge. Like, you have Io, right? Io re-signed already, right?
Yeah,
like,
he did.
Io re-signed. I didn't know if he was going to re-sign, but he did, and you got to be grateful for that. And cherry on top, Anthony Edwards is the guy that's going to take you to the promised land. I had a futures bet that I placed last February that Minnesota was going to beat New York in the finals. You know what I mean? In my opinion, the only reason why that didn't happen is because Ant hyperextended his leg in that first round. You know what I mean? In my head. You know what I mean? Obviously, the Knicks play great basketball and the Spurs are the Spurs and all that good stuff. But in my head, that's how I felt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's how much I believe in Anthony Edwards. So the fact that the Wolves are making moves to get better and be aggressive and get more stars. I think that Minnesota against the Spurs, their downfall was who can put the ball in the basket other than Anthony Edwards. They couldn't. They really didn't have another guy. So LaMelo fills that void perfectly, and he's not afraid. He plays the game with his eyes wide open.
Yep.
Even the play-in tournament that he had with beating Miami, killing out there, and even the way they fought against Orlando, even though they got washed, like, I think he still ended up with 30, and just he had no fear, and he was just aggressive and doing what he does. So if you're Minnesota, you're happy. I just think that you guys need to have the training staff working overtime, making sure that he stays as healthy as possible. You know what I mean? And having a guy like Ayo and Ant and a guy like maybe Jalen Clark stepping up with Dante out.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can just give LaMelo a little bit of a break throughout the regular season, where in Charlotte, obviously, he was the star of the show. Everything was on him. I know that he was coming off the bench with Charles Lee because he wasn't playing defense, but still, you know, Minnesota got depth now where they can give LaMelo a bit of a break. So hopefully they do that to make sure he's healthy throughout the postseason. But if they're healthy in the postseason, I mean, they're the type of team to be some underdogs going into a series, and they end up winning that series in 5 games just because LaMelo and Ant, like, you can't. That's a lot of offense. That's a lot of explosiveness, a lot of scoring, a lot of just game planning and stuff like that. Like, like LaMelo, man, I think LaMelo's he's gonna be finally in the NBA in terms of, like, he was always a good player, but now I'm a good player on a good team.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So I think we're genuinely gonna see an effect on LaMelo as a player, as a leader, and he's not gonna feel like, oh, I'm just playing these empty games, so why do I have to make these right plays? I think we're going to see a lot more of LaMelo's IQ get exercised with him being a lot of win-now games. They're one of those teams where, like, hey, they should try to win the NBA Cup. You know what I mean? Like, Philly, they should try to win the NBA Cup. They need to win. They need to figure out early and get the ball rolling to see where they're at, because they can be – obviously, their floor is pretty high, but they could be really good early. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of guys that – go to the team their first year and they become really successful, a la Kawhi. So
for sure.
Now Minnesota, another team in the West that made a splash of a move, a controversial move, if you will. Portland Trailblazers. This is a very interesting situation. Portland has also traded for Ja Morant. They gave up Jeremy Grant and Chris Murray. You know what I mean? The money matched up, got rid of that contract. Now you have a Ja Morant and what is now a crowded Portland backcourt. You know what I mean? What do you think of the deal with Ja Morant? What do we think that Portland's plan is?
I like the move for Ja. I think it's been time for him to go from Memphis.
Agree.
They had a great start, but past few seasons have been tough for both the team and Ja.
Yes.
So I think it's a good move for him. Portland, I don't know what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I have no clue.
They got too many guards, and they're gonna. I mean, I'm assuming trades are coming because I don't know what else you can do.
Yeah.
And I know you're big on Denny.
Yes, Denny's my guy.
Yes,
Denny's my guy.
Denny likes having the ball in his hands, and we saw he played well with the ball in his hands, and the team played well with the ball in his hands. So Ja can complement him well, but they got a lot of guards like Scoot and
you know what I'm saying?
Shaedon Sharp. And Drew Holiday doesn't need the ball, but
holy shit.
I don't
Drew Holiday too. That's four like really good guards.
Yeah.
Like
so there's been talks with them in the Celtics, but nothing happened with Jaylen Brown, so maybe something might happen with Paul George or someone on the Celtics, but
yeah.
I think Portland is going to make a trade very soon for one of their 4 guards.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I thought Portland was – when I heard Portland was interested in Jaylen Brown, I thought Drew Holiday reunion, and I thought we was going to be able to maybe get, like, a Donovan Clingan and, like, I don't know how the money would match up, but, like, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Players not nearly as good as Jaylen Brown, but it all adds up.
And they got Dame.
You know, like, literally. Like, so, you know, I'm thinking that they're going to be able to flip, but now it's like Portland made that deal. And now I'm thinking, like you said, for Portland, like we're almost like the Celtics, like you guys can't be done. You can't be done because Dame's not. Obviously, Dame can shoot the cover off the ball, but Dame's not a shooting guard. Like you can't. You're not going to be able to play Ja and Dame, right? We can all agree on that. Like you said with Denny, like for those who don't know, Denny is the real deal. So there's no faking that. You can't watch what he did in the playoffs, watch what he did all season, and think that Denny is just supposed to play third fiddle. Second fiddle, okay.
Yeah.
Dame in Portland, like we get it. You're the best player the franchise has ever seen. Like, yes, we can play behind you. I'll learn to catch and shoot more. But you think Denny's going to sit on the side and watch these Ja Morant antics trying to dunk on everybody and, having the ball go into the lodge seats? Like, we can't. Denny's not going for that.
No.
It's not smart for Portland. So, yes, I'm happy that Ja got out of that situation in Memphis, but I'm looking at Phoenix and been like, yo, you just missed your chance to, like, get the benefits of reviving Ja's career.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, like, I don't know why Portland wants Ja. Why do you want Ja? Like, okay, like, anyone would have Ja. Cool. But why do you want him? You know what I mean? Like, I know Dame's coming off a torn Achilles, and, like, there's going to be some medical stuff on him. Probably might start off playing 28, 30 minutes, right?
Yeah,
but,
for
like,
sure. But Denny proved last year.
Like, Denny was nasty last year, man.
They were playing a high-playing team in a
7th seed.
Excellent conference.
Like, yeah.
Excellent top-tier conference.
With the whole situation of the coach and, like, Chauncey Billups early in the season getting, like, you know what I mean? Like, they had no reason to be good this year in any capacity. They had every excuse to be shitty, and they weren't. A lot of because Denny's right hand. You know what I mean? And now it's like, I don't think Denny should be discouraged. I think that he's definitely still the hub of the offense right now. But in terms of just cohesiveness and, like, being a better basketball team than you were last year, I feel like you don't want to beat yourselves going into every game because of, lineup changes and, like, question marks with that. So, if I'm Portland, and then, like, that's what I'm saying, like, Drew Holiday. Like, you have to play Drew Holiday Drew Holiday and Shaedon Sharpe. Like, I really like Shaedon Sharpe as a player.
Yeah,
he's a starter in the league. He's not even going to be considered to start with this team because, like, you're not as good of a defender. You know what I mean? So we have to start Dame, Drew, Denny, Tumani, Klingon. You know what I mean? Like, Shaedon Sharpe might be limited to 24 minutes a game. Like,
he's just not going to put up with it for long enough. Like, this is his third or fourth year.
You know what I'm saying? Like, something like,
Scoot I think it's his third year. It's like, you're paying these guys to sit on the bench.
Shaden's going into his 5th year, I think, and Scoot's going into his 4th year because,
oh my God,
he's in the same class as Wemby.
Yeah.
So now it's like Scoot's been playing. He was out majority of last season and, like, with the hamstring, but he came back and he looked good. He looked like a guy where, hey, this guy could be our backup guard. Now it's like, is he getting minutes next year? And Ja's definitely coming off the bench? Like, I don't know. Maybe they're just I guess they're just setting Ja to win 6th man of the year because
I know
he's not going to be able to start with this roster constructed. Like, he's just not. Like, but nonetheless, I guess if you're Portland, it's good problems to have. You know what I mean? Because the talent's definitely there. The youth is there. I like Klingon as a big man. I actually watched them in Boston this year too. Denny, unfortunately, was a late scratch, so I didn't see him play, but they still put up a good fight. Like, Tumani Kamara is a very underrated player as a whole. He's working on his shooting. He's already a great defender. So a team like that is, and I feel like, especially with the West, like, you're in the fire. You know what I mean? So you're already conditioned to try and beat the best team. So they're the kind of team that might be able to give certain teams matchup problems, which can give them enough wins to stay afloat. But I really, really, really hope that this Ja Morant move doesn't set them back. You know what I mean? I feel like, I don't know how many wins. How many wins did they get last year? 46?
42.
42, okay. The West is tough, man. 7th, 8th seed. Yeah, 42 wins. I hope they can definitely be above 500. I hope everyone can stay healthy on that team because, like, Denny's rolling. Denny's rolling, and he just needs shooters. He just needs shooters and Tumani Kamara and Drew Holiday and defenders like that to help them win. You know what I mean? So a lot of question marks, but shout out to Ja for getting out there. Hopefully you can, contribute to this league like you should and like you've done before. So
absolutely,
we miss you out there.
It'd be a lot of fun.
You know what I'm saying? Like
the highlights, at least.
Yeah. Luka Doncic, man. Luka Doncic and the Lakers. We were talking about LeBron earlier. Luka, I'm not saying Luka's happy to see LeBron go, but Luka feels like he has arrived to the Lakers now, in a sense of we don't have to worry about playing a certain way for a certain player. The only way they have to worry about playing is his way. You know what I mean? As he's been accustomed to, as they should. Coming off 33.5 points, 8 assists. They're signing free agents left and right.
Yes.
Walker Kessler in a trade, signed him for 4 years, 130. Quentin Grimes, 4 years, 60 or something like that. Sandro Machiavelli, one of those guys coming from the Raptors, solid guy coming off the bench. What do we think about the Lakers? How serious are we rating these moves? And Colin Sexton.
Yeah.
This feels like the Los Angeles Mavericks.
I know.
This is the Los Angeles Mavericks.
It does. Honestly, I'm happy as a Celtics fan because I don't love these moves from the Lakers.
I don't either.
I don't think the NBA is in a crazy spot right now where this is one of the most fun off seasons we've had in a very long time.
Yeah.
But with all the movement means that teams got to get acclimated to each other.
Yes.
And that means it could take some time for every team. So the Lakers are in a spot where they're not in win now mode, obviously, but with Luka, you always got to be competitive.
Yeah, for sure.
But I just don't see how the free agents in the roster that they had can be that competitive in the West because the West is serious.
The West is serious.
The West is serious. So I don't.
They got away with the 4th seed last year, right?
But that was with LeBron had to help them in most cases and throughout the playoffs. He had to be that guy.
Literally.
And they can't rely on LeBron now, which is a huge loss.
Yeah.
A huge
literally,
loss.
actually.
And, I just don't think that Quentin Grimes or Walker Kessler, Colin Sexton, I don't think these guys are who the Lakers need.
Yeah.
They're not Showtime Lakers.
Yeah, they're not the kind of Lakers roster that makes you open up your eyes a little more. I think that if you're Luka, you have to understand like what the team is capable of doing. Like I feel like Luka understands that it's not going to go from zero to hero right away.
No, yeah.
I think it's frustrating. I think the Luka era on LA has been very confusing and like I feel like he's still distraught from the trade. You know what I mean? And I think that he's playing well, of course, but I just think that in terms of constructing a roster, I don't know if the Lakers are doing the best job helping him with that because I feel like they got better, but they're moving sideways. I think, like you said, the camaraderie is very, very important. It's dependent on how good they're going to be. I think, like, a Rui is performed well in the playoffs. I think that Luka's finding guys throughout the roster that they can trust. You know what I mean? I think, honestly, Austin Reeves was the biggest and best move they made. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Obviously, they already had him, but locking him down was huge because I think that there was a real chance that he could have left. And to be honest, I didn't know if they were going to pay him or not because I wasn't sure if they were going to go for like a bigger star to kind of pair with Luka.
Yeah.
But, we can't forget that in the beginning of the season, like Luka and AR were averaging 30 apiece while LeBron was, out from that that back injury.
Yeah,
so it's like
for sure.
I think that's great to go off of, and I think that Walker Kessler is the next biggest signing in terms of just I feel like the key to a great Luka team is having a great defensive big man. You know what I mean? Obviously, we know Luka's not the best perimeter defender, so when he gets blown by, they're going to need defenders in that paint. And like with the Mavs, their best team in 24 with Lively and Gafford and bigger defenders like that
Yeah.
can occupy the paint as well as catch lobs. I don't know offensively how effective Luka's going to be. I think that might take a little bit, but having a shot blocker like that definitely eases Luka's, stresses and stuff like that, and that's going to be super effective for him and Austin Reeves out there defending guys. But I mean, yeah, if you're a Lakers fan, you're definitely happy LeBron is going, from the standpoint that he gave you a chip and you can actually expand your team without being handicapped by his contract. But at the same time, it's like, man, you're signing mid-tier guys. Luka and AR, are they good enough to win you 4 series? Given their defensive liabilities at time, like the matchup problems they might cause for y'all defenses, it's like, I don't know. And I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. I just think that, I'll tell you what, this is Luka's best year to win MVP.
Yeah.
By far. Far. You don't have to worry about nothing in terms of people taking shots away from you. You know what I mean? Austin already knows what time it is. So, I do have Luka winning MVP this year. I had him winning MVP regardless. But this is a great year for Luka to win MVP and nothing else. You know what I mean? In terms of a championship, I don't know. But I think that he needs an MVP to get acclimated in LA, and they'll try again next offseason. Because the way it's looking, no bueno. You know what I mean? Other smaller trades like Miles Bridges to Phoenix. Devin Booker changing his number. What do you think about Devin Booker changing his number to 15?
I like it.
It's pretty cool story.
I liked his number, but it's time for a change in Phoenix.
Yeah, I loved his number too, but yeah.
I just wish Phoenix did more. I like Phoenix a lot. I like Devin Booker a lot.
Yeah.
But they're not. They're doing just enough to stay afloat, it feels like.
Yeah.
And not enough to get better.
I don't know what's up with that. I just seen a reel too before I came over here, and it was something about these private equity companies are owning teams now, or parts of teams, where they don't want caps to go over a certain level. And obviously that's always been a part of the game, but if it's becoming more prominent now, and that's the reason why guys like JB and guys in certain teams like the Suns may not be getting better, because they're just relying on paying one guy the most amount of money, and the rest of the guys are just good enough to make the playoffs and get those extra ticket sales in the playoffs. I hope that's not the case, but sometimes that's what it feels like, because Phoenix, why aren't you getting a job? Why are you going into the season again with Jalen Green? And no disrespect to Jalen Green, I'm just saying the fit. You know what I mean? Because I really like Jalen Green as a player, but get a point guard for Devin Booker. I feel like he's expressed the fact that he wants to just be a scorer again. He don't want the responsibility. He feels like it limits the team, him having to play both roles of scorer and facilitator. So, teams like that, it's why not just be more aggressive? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And Miles Bridges it's a big contract. And he's not a bad player by any means, but that's a big contract for Miles Bridges.
Yeah. How are you getting ahead with that? And I love Miles Bridges. Maybe they just want him and Dylan Brooks being those dogs for Devin Booker, and just, you know what I mean? I could see that too, you know what I mean? I'm going to be rooting for them regardless at some point this season, but
for sure.
I mean, just on paper, it matters a lot. It makes whatever you go through during the season, a lot easier if you get improve in the offseason. But Jaylen Brown too. That's one of the last things on the list of the topics that I wanted to talk about. Obviously, absolutely shit the bed against Orlando. Didn't improve much against Cleveland. They lose in 7. And now Detroit, very smart. They don't want to necessarily pay him that max extension, rookie extension, knowing that you just performed in the playoffs like you did. So now Jaylen Brown's kind of wanting out. You know what I mean? I heard Sacramento. I heard LA. That's obviously a no-go with Walker Kessler over there now. I even heard he wanted to go to the Celtics, but we obviously signed Mitchell Robinson now. So what do we think about Jaylen Brown and where he's trying to go, and what do you think Detroit should do about it?
It's a tough position, because this year he was an all-star, which was a surprise to everyone, I think.
Yep.
And he was All-NBA third team, which is even more of a surprise. And all that, to have him end the playoffs with the way he performed, that's tough for Detroit. So I do think they're making the right move by moving on from him. I know he's young, and I think he can be impactful in any team he's on, but unfortunately for Detroit, I don't think it's them that he should stay with.
Yeah. I think that at 22,
that's young.
Yeah, at 22, I don't want to bash you too much, you know what I mean? There's obviously room for development, but the playoffs are very telling, you know what I mean? Especially when you're going into an offseason and making decisions in contract years. It's 4 years, 5-year commitments with young guys like that. So you definitely don't want to overpay, but more importantly, you don't want to be stuck with those years with the player that you might have already seen their ceiling. You know what I mean? So I think that Detroit obviously has the leverage because I'm seeing that he's a restricted free agent. So worst case scenario when it comes to restricted free agency, hey, if he signs with Team A out west or whatever it is, and it's for a certain number, and Detroit don't mind that number, they'll take him for that without, you know what I mean? They could just match that and get him back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And obviously they have the option where, hey, if another team overpays for him, they'll let him go. But I think that Detroit is a team that was the 1 seed in the East. I mean, you were the 1 seed in the East, and you kind of had you had an underwhelming playoff performance as a team.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? You made Cade look like he wasn't enough. Even to me, I thought he wasn't a guy for a second, but I had to remind myself that the roster he's constructed with isn't the most optimal. You know what I mean? Cade's a large part of that. So they're going to need guys to come in and help him out. With the Tobias Harris leaving, going to San Antonio.
It's a big loss.
Yeah, that's a huge loss. That was literally their second best player all playoffs. So, like, and was he really supposed to be? No, he wasn't supposed to be. So it's just, like, concerning times for Detroit. But almost like the Celtics, it's like you got Cade. You know what I mean? That you got one guy that you can believe in and is good enough where if the front office has half of a brain, you're going to be able to make it work next year where you feel good about your team. But yeah, Jaylen Brown, something about me too is telling me that his young age and his ego is kind of talking himself out of Detroit too at the same time. You know what I mean? So. Like, obviously your performance don't help you, but probably the way you're approaching the conversation at the table, it's probably not even appealing to want to have you back anyway. So that's just my prediction too. I don't want to, bash him too much, but that's just how I feel about it. But wherever he's going to go, that team's going to be committed to him and believing in him. So, yeah, I mean, crazy offseason. I don't think I've seen as many moves as I have, blockbuster-wise at least, with these guys. With these big names. You know what I mean? So that was definitely interesting to see, like, Kawhi, Jaylen Brown, Paul George, Giannis. Like, Ja, that's a lot of all-stars, a lot of talent, you know what I mean? Maybe some of them over the hill, but, like, still effective to any team. So you look at a team like New York, a team like San Antonio, you definitely got, y'all were just in the finals, but with these teams changing up and switching up, it's not going to be easy cakewalk. It already wasn't going to be, but, very interesting to see if these teams like a Philly, a Toronto, a Minnesota, like, how much better did you guys get? You know what I mean? How, out of those teams that made those moves, how quickly can those teams gel to be, legit and for us to see their full potential? I'm very interested in that. What's the team that you feel like had the most successful offseason to this point?
I have to go with Philly.
Yeah, right?
And
you don't want to say it, but
I really don't want to say it. But to flip Jaylen Brown for Paul George, or the other way around,
that's the biggest fleece.
I don't know. No amount of picks is worth that.
It's not. It's really not. It's really not.
There's no other player they had to give up.
Can't even compare it to.
They didn't have to give up Edgecombe. They didn't have to give up any of their bench players.
Was it just 2 picks?
I think it was 4. I think it was 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks.
Okay, 2 second-round picks. Okay.
But
that's not, yeah. That's a fleece. Like, you gave up what you wanted to give up.
Paul George was the weak spot in their lineup, in their starting lineup.
That is literally
And they get Finals MVP and
first team All NBA.
Yep.
He made first team All NBA this year, right? Or was it second?
Maybe,
he might have been the first one. He might have been the first one on the second team.
Top 6 in MVP.
He might have been the first one on that second team.
But I think he deserved first team All NBA, but that's regardless.
Yeah, most definitely too.
The improvement overnight for Philly is
insanity.
It's astounding.
The guy was averaging 17, 5, and 4. Hey, respect to Paul George, though. I can't be too. Shout out Jason Tatum, man. Shout out Jason Tatum. That's all I got to say.
I hope Brad Stevens knows what he's doing. Because I don't think anyone in the world right now does. So I hope he does.
We need that press conference sooner than later.
Yes.
Like tomorrow. Why is Kenzie so reckless? How's that for transition?
Wow. I guess that's something we'll see tonight. Maybe something we'll.
Oh yeah, we can see
prove tonight.
Yes, we can. Wow. New episode out now.
I don't know. I just think that's her personality and how she's grown up. And I don't know how
her background.
I don't know what her background's like. I don't know much about her, but I'd say reckless is a good word to describe it.
Yeah, it took me a minute to find something suitable for this podcast, but yeah, that's the word I came up with. And who do you think? I mean, who do you think has been the most, realistically, the most? Who do you see being the most stable couple outside of the Villa and stuff like that? If you could even pick one, because
it's tough to pick one because I don't feel good about any of the couples.
Yeah.
I think I have to go with Trinity and Bryce.
Yeah.
I think that's the easy option, but I don't think there's another option.
I wasn't a fan of them earlier too, and you're right too. That wasn't even a good question because it's like, who can you seriously say it's a good couple? You know what I mean? It's like
I don't feel good. I mean, Corbin and Parmita they're good for each other right now.
Yeah, and
they're good for Miami.
Yeah, they'll see each other after the Villa, but it might be for one night. I don't know.
I don't know how long term that will be.
It might be a little Airbnb, but Casey or Sincere, who's more of a villain?
In my opinion, it's Sincere by a lot. I think Casey's just immature and he's made some bad decisions, and but Sincere he's proven himself time and time again of being a villain. I don't know what else you need to see from the guy.
They paid him to throw the game. They paid him to throw the game. There's no other explanation.
Some of them feel like secret agents in that show.
Yeah,
and he feels like at the top of it because,
like, these producers.
What more does he have to do? Yeah,
and shout out to the producers because it's like some of these guys must have an earpiece in their ear and they're just getting told, "Yo, just fuck this whole thing up right here." Like, yo, I know. Yo, Melanie's ecstatic right now. Like, you know what you should do? You should go and pull more for a chat and tell her you still have interest in her. Like, tell her you still see a future with her outside the Villa. Like, you know what I mean? Like, tell Soul she's number one. You know what I mean? Like,
and she's the only one you're interested in.
You know? Like, hey, you just made breakfast for Melanie. Go pull Kata for a chat. Like, that's what they're telling him out here. It's just like this guy's a menace. I don't know. I think Sincere seriously thinks he can clone himself the way he moves and stuff like that. And yeah, I think I agree. Even though I asked the question, like, I think that Sincere is more of a villain than KC, as easy as it is to make KC the villain.
Mm-hmm.
It's two guys sitting here, so I know that I don't want to say too much about KC because when this comes out and if I explain it, I don't know, I might get bashed. I might get the red pill manosphere thing again.
Yeah.
I don't want to get that. You know what I mean?
We haven't seen tonight's episode either.
Yeah. Yes. Disclaimer. We have not. I'm going to put that in front of this clip. We have not seen tonight's the part 2 of the movie night. So just, give us grace here with our thoughts here. But yeah, I think KC, as wrong as he's done, there's definitely been more mutual scenarios that as individuals, they both have to take account for. But that definitely does not equate to all the disrespect and distastefulness that KC had. I just think that he did not pay attention in ELA class throughout his whole life because he's terrible with words and, he don't know how to... Even when he's trying to express himself, he doesn't express himself clear at all. And, he just talks like he's in a locker room every time. So it's it comes off so insensitive. But if you ask me, I think that he cares about Anaya and how wrong it ended with Anaya. But I know it's hard to see that with the way he's been moving. But I think it's important.
It's too late for him to explain himself. And no one's trying to hear that now. Yeah.
At this point, I've came to the conclusion that he's just not gonna win, and not even the 100K. That's obviously out the window. But just in general, win the hearts of them, win their respect. It's over for that. So
yes,
Casey just has to enjoy the weather out there on the island and enjoy TT because she's into him. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
happy for him on that front. But yeah, just focus on that because fixing anything else is going to be not good.
Mm-hmm.
And last thing before we get out of here.
Yep.
You know what I mean? My guy here is speaking of Love Island, my guy's in a relationship right now. Me, I'm single. You know what I mean? So me and him, we used to be doing all types of madness, you know what I mean, throughout high school, having our experiences and all that stuff.
Respectful, of course. Respectful.
Now we are all grown up. This guy got the girl. I want one piece of advice for a happy relationship. What's one key for you that makes a relationship successful and makes it a good flow for you?
I think it's simple to say, but just listen to your girl.
I like that.
It's simple. Just listen to her. Know what she likes, what she doesn't like. Know her routine. Know everything about her. And that's the easiest way to keep her happy.
I like that.
When she's sad, be there. When she's happy, be there.
Listen, I like that. Listen. And does that require you to ask questions and stuff like that?
Absolutely.
In order to listen and stuff like that?
Absolutely. Figure out her feelings, figure out where she's coming from in certain things. Just talk to her. Always be there for her. It's easy to say.
Yeah, easier said than done.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that's very important, and often it gets misconstrued.
Yeah.
In relationships.
I feel like just speaking from an outside perspective, sometimes when you hear just listen, it's just that's just something you have to put up with, right? But no, it seems like you can actually listen for your benefit, right?
Yeah.
Not only to, take into account her needs and her interests and her wants, but if you listen, you can get on the same page too, and you can find a way to make it work for yourself as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because it takes two to tango, and it's a partnership. So it's never going to be 100% her way, or maybe it is probably, right? But,
sometimes.
And it's definitely never going to be 100% your way. But listening helps that middle ground where both of y'all can find a position to, be happy. So as simple as that is, it's very effective. So, when it's my time, I'm going to listen.
His time's coming.
Yes, we're putting that in the air right now.
Yep.
But I appreciate that advice. I appreciate you being on this episode 10 of the Purest Play podcast. It's been a pleasure. History's been made. First time. We are in a new location for the podcast. Great location. my second home, of course. But once again, I'd like to thank you for being on the pod.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Yes, everything that's been going on with you. Love to see what you're doing. Love to see you continue to be great. The relationship, amazing. All that. Family's good. Shout out Andres, too. Congrats on the marriage. Super fire. You and Sin, very happy for y'all. But, yeah, that's all we got for y'all today on the Purest Play podcast. Like, subscribe, comment, and keep it pure, y'all. Salute. We out of here. We watching part 2 of the Love Island. Let's go. There we go.